Oh, my phone went live super fast. Let me boop, 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 boop. There. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna give at least time for at least one person. Once one person pops in, I'm gonna get this party started because I'm only partially here. All right, so now that I have at least one person, and like it's the honestly the main one. If no one else joins, it's okay because I'm doing this live specifically for who joined me on TikTok. But for anyone that is catching the replay on YouTube or Facebook, hi, this is Iani Fadani Faomi Shango. I am Ifa Abo Shishe Abo Ato Awo. And my plan was not to go live today. I blame Who Made Y'all Priests because my plan today, I had some admin and some things and some packages to clean. There were some things that I wanted to do today, and going live was not on my to-do list. It wasn't on my to-do list. But here I am live one time for TikTok, always first in the building. I can't tell if that's Facebook or YouTube on my laptop. So make sure y'all leave a comment so I know who you are so I can appropriately speak to you. Thank y'all so much for joining. Make sure y'all tap the screen to like. So who made y'all priests? For those of you who are not on TikTok or YouTube, they are content creators that I follow on TikTok. I am subscribed to their YouTube channel. They do a podcast. And one thing I want to give them as a humongous shout out is because there are not many men in the Orisha tradition that I follow. There are not many. I have a very close friend that's a Babalawo, and I don't follow a lot of men because sometimes, the poison of colonization and misogyny has sometimes permeated through some lineages, and they don't speak that way. And I love the way they teach. I love the way they share content, and so I do want to give them like a huge shout out and a big respect. I hope one day that we can actually connect more directly and maybe do something together because I don't, they would probably make that'd be four men in the tradition technically that I have that level of respect for. So I want to make sure I share that. So they have done a 2-part episode, and real talk, it did not surprised me at all that it had to be 2 parts. Like when I saw there had to be a part 2, the 7 hearty chuckles I had because I knew there needed to be 2 parts. I knew there was going to have to be 2 parts to this conversation because I knew you weren't going to be able to do it in one. So I was listening to part 2 in the car, and they're talking to Awo Falokun. So those of you who are in Orisha tradition, y'all know that he has several books out. I have several. And what I rarely ever say or mention in conversation, because he can be a bit polarizing, is that he is the elder, or given their current relationship, former elder of my Ialode. He was actually present at my initiation. Yeah, and so I have at least met him and at least held some conversation with him. Things I will say, if anyone's questioning him, he is absolutely a proficient reader in Medium, because he said things that only someone who knew me personally could know. So I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah. But had been doing a talk with Who Made Y'all Priests, and one of those things, especially just some things that happen behind the scenes, I feel like I have a better understanding as to why this was the lineage that I needed to be born into through Ifa and Orisha. I understand because his relationship with Odu and the Orisha is very much similar to my own. When he talks about understanding the Odu from a metaphysical perspective, that is my relationship to Odu. Like, she speaks to me, and I say she because Odu is the womb of creation. She speaks to me in a way that allows those energies to come together, and I understand from a broader perspective what is happening in my own life and the person I'm divining for his life in a way that isn't often like isn't necessarily explained in the same way as others. So him speaking about how the Odu is the Fibonacci sequence and how it's the repetition of birth, death, transformation, rebirth, birth, death, transformation, rebirth, birth, death, transformation, rebirth over and over again. But if you're not taught or don't have a relationship with Odu in that way, then you can miss that. There are times when I am doing divination, and depending on what Odu it is, if I see that that Odu is technically the first one in the quote unquote book for Odu of the 256, then one thing I also know is that that person is getting ready to go through a new cycle. They're at the beginning of a journey, and being able to see that in a much broader perspective. I can look at the Odu and I can tell you right now, you likely don't feel like you're moving because depending on which marks are showing up, indicate that that move, the energy is not moving in this moment, that they're in a metaphysical and esoteric sense, then you may not see that vision of the Odu. Whereas I can see like the Odu themselves, each leg looks like a body. And so for me, I could say, okay, well, the movement, they're not moving here in your heart space. So this may be why Ogun is showing up, because Ogun is associated with your heart chakra. This is the center of your chakra network. And so the movement's not here. There's not a constant flow up and down. And I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm kind of channeling. And so just please excuse me. But there's lack of movement. And Ogun is the principle that ensures that we have obstacles here is what allows the energies to come down from spirit and up through earth in a constant back and forth flow in our energy system. So, but again, if you're not able to see certain things like that, is where is the energy not flowing? Where is the energy not moving? And why is it not moving in those certain areas? You might not see it that way. So that was one of the things that stuck out to me, is that those aha moments for me is like, you needed to have a lineage that was going to support your way your relationship with spirit is, and help you in support the way that you are going to see Odu. And if I didn't have someone that could see that do, you're not going to be able to do that. Also, talking about just in the diaspora, the relationships with Ifa and Odu and things like that. And one thing that for me personally, as an Ianifa who is birthing her own lineage and has her own temple and her own omos, one thing that I have found for myself is that one, just in the conversation space, is that I make sure they understand that though, yes, for our lineage, it is traditional Ifa, understand that this temple, this Ile is, you know, I have a couple of invited to the cookout, but it is an African American lineage. And thus, the way things are going to be birthed and born through us may have touches of my Nigerian, Yoruba, the ancestors of the tradition, but the blood that flows through it is inherently African American. And I have to remind them, don't look for it to be a mirror image of Nigeria when it's not going to be. It couldn't possibly, because we're not there. We're not there. And so I appreciated aspects of that part happening in the conversation. He talked about things that are necessary for healing across the board and what's going to cause the healing. And he mentions the yes. The non-traditional traditional is absolutely, like, you can tell, you come sit in my house like, oh yeah, like it's Isheshe, like what is the head Orisha? We don't do that here. Like you can tell, but you can also tell that I'm Black, like I am African American. And so you can tell how that manifests. But what that does is it removes the box that colonization has placed upon our orishas. It removes the box that's placed upon our ancestors. It removes the box that has been placed upon Egbe and allows us to truly experience those divine energies in a way that allows them to be infinite and broad like they're supposed to be. Like, what is this box? I did a blog about Eshu on my website, and it was spawned in part by content creators limiting Eshu to the idea of the trickster. And to me, the trickster moniker is likely a colonized description. And I don't think that's what truly is supposed to be. He's a teacher, and he is the spirit of discernment. And thus, if you don't use your discernment when making your decision to choose which way you're going when you get to that crossroads, if you're not allowing discernment to be the thing that is your deciding factor, then of course you're going to experience upheaval. Don't blame Eshu when you are the one who made the decision as to which way you were going to go. You made that choice. Eshu didn't make the choice for you. Eshu is not the one making your choices. So when you make the choice, when obviously the sign has been here, don't go over there. Don't go that way. I really don't want you to go that way. That's really, you're going to go that way anyway. Bruh, are you kidding me right now? All right, I tried to tell you not to go that way. You chose to go that way. So don't blame the Orishas for your decision making when you're realizing that you don't have a relationship with your Ori. So that means you don't have a relationship with your intuition, which means you don't know what it feels like in your body because you haven't sat in your body to know what it feels like when your Ori is telling you, yes, do that, or no, don't do that. So if you know how to feel the yes, because the yes comes through as a physical sensation, the clairaudient thing that you hear, or the clairvoyant thing that you see, or the claircognizant thing that you know comes after the intuitive hit. The intuitive hit comes first. Oh, okay. My Ori just told me yes to something. What was I thinking about just before then? What was I doing just before then? The reason why my Ori is, hey, trying to get my attention. And then you are able to move through that decision-making process with discernment. And so being able to pull the Orishas out of their respective boxes, like stop limiting them. Stop limiting them. You know why Shango wants to sit at my front door? Besides the fact that, protection and whatnot, Shango is inviting in abundance. It's not Oshun sitting at my front door. That's not who said it. Shango wants to sit at my front door because he is inviting in abundance. But if the only thing you limit Shango to is being flashy and a great dancer, and he's brave and he's loud and he's courageous, and he walks in the room and he's probably the most attractive person there, but you don't see Shango as being a master diviner. Because when I asked Shango recently, how can I walk more as you? What Shango told me was, be the master diviner that you are. And it's like, oh, why? Because that is what's going to invite in the abundance. That's what's going to invite in my prosperity. That is where my wealth and my prosperity lies, in that particular natural talent that I have. So we have to pull them out of their boxes. And so I appreciate the non-traditional, traditional way in which that he speaks about those divine energies. When he talked about that healing with the mothers. And I'm always appreciative when men, including him, speak about the mothers, speak about the Iyami, and they don't lean into the way colonizers said you should be afraid of them. Because no, the word means mothers. And this is, again, this campaign against disconnect from the feminine. It's a campaign against disconnect from the feminine, because that disconnect from the feminine is what allowed for us to not, our ancestors, way back when the divination came down, and it says, hey, there's somebody coming, don't trust them when they arrive on the continent. Everybody got it. The oracles who were women, the oracles who were women, the oracles who were women, the sibyls, the mothers, they got the download. Don't trust them non-Black people coming, because it's not going to bode well for your legacy. It's one of those old dudes where it's like, they did not give their Ebo, and they not listened to the wisdom of Ifa. They did not listen to their oracles. They had disconnected from the mothers, and thus they didn't seek their wisdom. They didn't listen to the wise counsel. And so, but they did. See, I saw an interview where someone said, Cat Williams said that they know who we are. That is why they keep repackaging the things that our ancestors have known, the ancient wisdom our ancestors have been sharing. They keep packaging it as new age. It's not. It's not. It's not new age. It is wisdom that our ancestors had and they have continued to have, and that are continue to be shared through the Odu and through mediumship and through the oracles. But if we have a disconnect and we don't allow ourselves to reconnect with the mother, we are going to be out of balance. The creation story where prior to the calabash splitting, it was just feminine energy, black, darkness. That is nothing but feminine energy. It was not until the calabash split, when light entered, that was the invitation for masculine action. This is where the potential energy began to become kinetic and thus birth creation. That if you don't honor the beginning, if you don't honor the impulse, if you don't honor the muse, if you don't honor where your ideas come from, if you don't honor where you get that creative nudge from, if you don't honor where you are birthed from, how are you going to ever find balance? You are disconnecting from a part of yourself. This is not about you, who's supposed to be more. It's not about that. It's not supposed to be men more supreme than women. There's supposed to be a balance. And when that balance went away, when we stopped listening to the feminine, when you stopped embracing it and seeing the feminine as something to be as an insult. Shouts out to Darcel, because Darcel and I were having that conversation about this whole campaign about the Black men putting on dresses and it being to belittle and insult. But this is the trick, because they told you that it would make you weak. It was an insult for you, anything associated with women. So that if you were going to do something that inherently made you look like a quote unquote woman, which again, this argument sounds stupid, because if you look at traditional dress, there wasn't no pants anyway. But you arguing over some newfound fashion sense that indicates some sort of manhood. But when you look at it from the broader perspective, how can you be diminished? How can you be weakened by looking like this if you don't already think that thing is an insult? If you don't have a problem with women, if you don't have a problem with being associated with a woman, they can't weaken you by doing that. They can't make you small. They can't make you weak. And if anything, when you're connecting to that energy and you're connecting to the womb of creation in that way, through the emulation of that, if that's what you feel like you're doing, you are tapping into a power that you don't biologically have. And you're tapping into that. But, go off. So I asked Ifa, like I cast divination. I asked Ifa because one thing Follow Kun says, if you don't ask the right questions, you don't garner the right results. So I look at how I divine and how I speak to Ifa, and I ask those kinds of questions. I ask them like, okay, let's talk about slavery and then talk about what to do to heal it. Let's talk about slavery and what do we need to do to heal it. And it's going back to honoring the mothers, but it's not disconnecting from the father. It's just honoring them both, honoring the potential and the kinetic, honoring the light in the dark, finding a way to honor both. And you have to start doing that here. And that's going to reverberate out to honoring both. I told my godchildren, I said, one of the things is, a lot of times we hear Black people and we're looking for non-Black people to step in to help in some of these things. But if we understand that we are the original, like if that like we understand it, like it started with the Black people, which means from a traditional sense, we are the parents of humanity. Black men, Black women, Black womb holders, Black non-womb, we are the parents of humanity. So if you have that understanding, you understand that kids learn from their parents. So it behooves those who don't want us to remember to keep us at odds so things can stay out of balance. It is when we start to come back into balance, when we start working together, thinking about when the Black Panther Party and Black men and Black women were like real heavy, walking side by side, they did their darndest to ensure that there was a wedge and a separation between us, because the healing of humanity begins with parents of humanity. We have to do this work first. We have to do this work so that we can help everyone else learn, lead by example. We have to lead by example. But if we can't come together, just even in our tradition, if in these Ifa and Orisha streets, we still going around what set you claim, who jumped you in, when you can have a room full of people and all the Shango is going to find each other. All the Yemoja is going to find each other. I guarantee in my life right now, if there is at least 2 Orisha practitioners, there's at least one Omo Shango or Omo Yemoja in my life right now. I'm willing to bet money. There's at least one. Even if they haven't crowned, they have been told they're Omo Yemoja or they're Omo Shango. They already know this. You're we got to initiate on the same continent, but I bet you show up. I bet you show up. And that's the point. That is the point. We keep looking at everyone that we are one, that we are all one. It resonates with dogma nature, which means it is prone to interpretation and change. There will be nuances that say, oh, I can tell that came from that thing. I can tell that came from that thing, but it may not be exactly the same. That's you know what? I knew that. I knew that listening to him talk. I knew that listening to him talk. Like he sound like me sometimes. He be asking the questions. I'm like, yo, I would have asked that question too. I would have asked that question too. So understanding that we're not supposed to be beefing, we're not supposed to be bumping heads, and that's just not something that's supposed to be taking place. We are not walking in our Iwa Pele when we do that. We're not walking in our Iwa Pele when we do that. The fact that Isheshe birthed a multitude of lineages, traditions in which to venerate and honor the wisdom of nature, to honor our Oris, to honor our Egbe, to honor our Egun. That was by design because there is no box you can fit Olodumare in. She is, he is, they are limitless. And thus the expression of nature is always going to be limitless. There should be limitless possibilities in which the wisdom of nature is going to manifest. So, yeah, I told you I'm channeling. When he spoke about Ela, all I could do was like, yo, is smile. So he speaks about Ela and how in Ode Remo, and they invoke Ela before ceremonies and rituals and divination. And in the few conversations I've had with people, I have now found that myself is anyone not in the lineage that I was born in, it's not common. And for me, my Ialode, in all her wisdom, she was like early on in my journey, like not initiate, early on, you need to invoke Ela every day. And when you have a question, a concern, hold it in your mind. Why? Because Ela is a spirit of manifestation. Ela is the highest form of Orunmila. And so if Orunmila is the Orisha of divination, if the spirit, the witness to creation, who witness to our destiny. So even if I don't do a specific Orunmila Oriki, Orunmila always is with me because every day I invoke Ela. And so when I have a question in my mind and I do Ela, short or long, because I've been invoking Ela for so long, it doesn't matter which one I do. She gonna show up. It doesn't matter which one I do. She's gonna show up. And I always get an answer. Why? Because she is the highest form of Orunmila. She is the spirit of manifestation. Meaning, if I have a question, the answer is going to manifest. If I have a question, the answer will manifest by the time I get to the end of my Oriki. I will have gotten the download for the answer. Because that is what the energy of Ela is. Ela also, for me personally, is is protective. So, so e- even if I don't do nothing else, anything like, and I just cannot seem to get out of bed, I will sing to Ayla. If I don't do nothing else on a daily basis, I will sing to Ayla. When I don't feel good, most of me and the lineage that I was born into, we don't use that word. One, because no one's taking ownership of my vessels. That doesn't happen. But it's also personal level, the way that takes place. Um, for people who are in hoodoo or probably hear this more often, abo shishe agbo ato. I am always two-headed. Always, always in a perpetual state of being two-headed. I'm always both here and not. And he talks about that. He says that being in a place of suru, inner peace, there's a relationship you have on a regular basis. Therefore, you're able to receive downloads, channel in a moment's notice. That is why sitting with elders is so important, is because an elder that has found suru is able to do that, is able to be in that place where what it doesn't matter where they're at. If you sit at their feet and you're looking for wisdom, the wisdom is going to really been doing that. Realizing that I have been doing the name he gave me. He gave me that name. Like in my name that he gave me is Suru. And he's like, you have a deep connection to the source. I don't, it takes nothing. It really doesn't. It is all I have to do is have the intention and it's like I'm here, but I'm always here. There's never a point where I feel pushed to the side. But Ayla is gonna Ayla. Ayla is absolutely gonna Ayla. I can't hear anyone do it. And all it takes is the first two lines. That's it for me. All it takes is the first two lines. Because I've been doing it for so long, he talks about the feedback loop, where the more often you do it, it's cultivating a memory. It's a trigger. So for me, doing like it's just a natural state for me. Like it's just a natural state. So it's a trigger. If I hear someone else do it or bring it up, it's like, oh, like I didn't expect him to do it in the podcast. And I'm in the car driving and he goes into it. I was like, bruh, not while I'm driving. Come on, dog. And I'm like, okay, I'm all right. I'm almost home and I could get there and I'll be fine. And he says, if not, you feel nothing when you hear it, you might want to get your pulse checked. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. If you can hear someone invoke Ayla and feel nothing, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't do the longer version because there's a shorter version of the Oriki. And I will do the short version just in a general, like, if I'm just doing it like with my godchildren, but I'm not doing ceremony or divination, or if it's just my morning prayers, I may not do the long one. I may do the short one. Now, on Oshe Ola, Oshe Ifa, yes, I will do the longer one. And I don't have to go all the way through. I don't have to go all the way through. All it takes is the first two lines. I take it about 3/4 of the way before I go ahead and just pump my brakes and stop. But Ayla, one of my godchildren, felt like there was something going on in her house. And so I divined on it and I couldn't get there. And Ayla transcends time and space. So I was like, call me on the phone. And then I want you to act like the vessel. You are the funnel. And I'm going to sing. As she walked around her house, and I invoked Ayla all over her house and pushed out whatever was there, because that's all that was needed in that moment. Was she needed me to invoke Ayla. and push away that which was not meant to be there. She needed that light to come into her house, and she needed that to be done. So Ayla, the relationship with Ayla is for me like that's the homie. Like that's the way I feel about Ayla is the homie. Ayla is the homie. And he talked about that singing the Ayla, making it slow. Now, mind you, I don't sing it as slow as him, but I also feel like that's the African American in me. So the rhythm of my Ayla is different from his, but it is not a fast oriki. Like, and having multiple people do those call and responses when we do oriki, not even lie. If I'm doing any of those orikis with call and response, and anyone takes the breath to respond, I feel the breath, because Ela is the breath before you do oriki. Ela is the breath before you do oriki. So when you get ready to do oriki, whether you're going to do a speak it, sing it, whatever, but you do it because you're ashe before you're doing your prayer. Then that hit. So when they are getting ready to respond, and I can feel them, that's enough right there. That just levels it up. He talks about the power of being together in prayer and how being in a group setting, and it does hit different. Like I enjoy doing Oriki by myself. Like we be in full concert, we be getting it in. Because just call me the Orisha DJ. We be getting it in. But when it's the group, when I have my goddaughters, especially for me, because the temple is broad. So anyone could be a member of my temple. Anybody could come to temple events, classes, and things like that. But my Ile is nothing but women. It is nothing but women and our children. That is in the Ile. I have women and children in my Ile. And so to have a multitude of womb holders, because as of right now, I think I have about 14, 15 goddaughters, give or take. So he talked about, being in a room with 16. So think about 16 portals, because that's what womb holders are. Wombs are portals. So think about 16 walking, talking, breathing portals. And then we all are singing and chanting to the divine energies together. He talked about reshaping reality. That's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. That's why there needs to be a womb holder present at any ceremonies, because we're an active portal, we're an active channel, we're an active oracle. So that's why we're supposed to be present in everything that is done in E5, because that energy being birthed through us is most potent. It's most potent. We literally, Odu, Yoruba means womb. That's what the word means. It means womb. So womb holders actively hold Odu. So us being present in the room allows that immortal energy to come through easy. It comes through easy. It's not that it won't come through without it, but there's a level of ease at which that energy is going to flow, because walking the portal's right there. It's right there in the room with you before you do anything else. It's right there in the with you. So I appreciate the way that is something coming through his lineage that he has taught and shared, like that necessary connection to womb holders, to women, to the mothers. And I have to give gratitude to the way the Iyami have made themselves known to my goddaughters. When we get together for full moons and we pay homage to the mothers and the way they manifest so beautifully. Our last gathering, we talked about health. I always set a theme, an intention. And so the last time we talked about health, because a few of us have had some things come up with health that have been loud and glaring. And so that setting, we asked the mothers, what do we need to do to take care of our bodies, to take care of our vessels, to be more healthy in mind, body, and spirit? And the way they, you know, will gently come through and snatch your edges because that's what your mama does. That's what your moms do. Your mom comes through with the gentle edge snatching. Like moms comes through and she's protective of you. She's like, I don't know, well, nobody mess with my baby. And the Mother Earth is their baby. So they don't like nobody messing with Mother Earth. And their daughters are their babies. They don't like nobody mess with them because they are the Iyami walking on earth. That's why they're so protective of us. So understanding that they're not looking, it's just like that relationship people have with Eshu. Oh, Eshu's going to trick you. No, Eshu's going to give you two choices and you're going to trick yourself. You're going to play yourself when you pick the wrong one. It's just, Eshu's going to lay the choices out. Here's all the paths. There's all the paths that you have to choose from. Now, your Ori is highlighting this one right here. And you can take that one because that one right there is the right one. But your ego's going to probably pick this one. And if you're not listening to either one of them, you just like all willy-nilly, you're going to pick this other one. But what I really want you to do is trust in your Ori. Agbo Ato Cezanne, I want you to trust in your Ori. And I want you to trust that this is the path in which your E-ray lies. I want you to trust that that's the path where your good fortune is going to be. That's what I want you to do. And then you don't listen. Ain't nobody do that to you. You did it to yourself. The same applies to the mothers. When your mama tell you, don't touch that thing, don't touch the eye of the stove, it's going to burn you. Did she burn your hand when you chose to touch it anyway? No. So it's the same thing. It's like a personal accountability. Alafia, like it's personal accountability. How you going to blame somebody else for your poor decision making? How you gonna blame somebody else for your poor decision making? That doesn't make sense. So this rejection of the mothers, like, oh my God, they're always, all they do is, that's not what they do. They're just like any other mother. They're just like any other mother. If you keep screwing up, yes, they're gonna whoop you. You're gonna get a whooping. That's just that. That's just it. They're gonna give you a whooping, but that's not what they want. What they would like to do is bring sweetness to you and give you E-ray. And when you recognize that it's just mother, so every mother energy in every tradition, not just Ifa, every mother in every tradition is Iyami. Your ancestral mothers are Iyami. You recognize that womb holders, like it disconnects the colonizers' influence because they was mad that when things needed to go down and the men folks was going to speak to the elder mothers, the Iyami on earth, and speak to that collective of mothers on earth. Why y'all talking to them? We don't let our women do that. Why y'all talking to them? We don't go to, you should be making those decisions. And then you wonder why they mad. Like, how dare you? You disrespectful sons of, like, oh, okay, that's how you feel about it? Okay. No, there is, what they say about a woman scorn? A little bit of both. Like, it's a little bit of both. Like, real talk. It's the consequences is going to happen. And it's like, bruh, like, why would you do that? Like, you burned your hand now. I told you not to do that. I told you. And one of the first Iyami rituals that I did with my goddaughters, actually with my godchildren, because I had godsons at the time, is I had them meet the Iyami of their understanding. That was the first thing I did, is meet them of your understanding. And then tell me what you get. And when I say the beautiful manifestation of nurturing, of love, the tears that were shed, there were people who never had a relationship with mother energy who were hugged, who were simply held. Some of them saw themselves. Some of them saw reflections of themselves. Some of them were transformed into beautiful goddesses. And understanding that it ain't always what you see. It ain't always what you like. When you disconnect from the colonized image of who women are supposed to be and allow that energy to manifest, then you reconnect. It is this disconnect and this slur campaign, this campaign to berate and belittle women that allows you to allow the reflection of her divine counterparts to be seen in a negative fashion. If you can disconnect from that, then you will recognize they're just simply mothers. And that's it. That they are just simply but mothers. So I am grateful for Who Made Y'all Priests, because I haven't even finished the second part. Like, real talk. Like I've been live just short of an hour, like about 40 minutes, and all of that spawn, and I'm only halfway through the second part. I'm only halfway through. I had to finish it, and I need to go sit down because I'll be able to focus. Uh, yeah, because you don't have to birth a human in order to be a mother. See, let's talk about mothers. A mother is someone that births something into existence that wasn't already here. Your ideas are your birthing form that needs to look like. That is mother's energy. You have an innate connection to source, because whether you keep your womb or not, as a womb holder, you have an intimate connection to the source. You are the reflection of creation in a human vessel. You are the creations. Womb holders are creation in a human vessel. And not to knock anyone else, but Black women are the most pure representation, as the melanin that is in our skin, the melanin's natural color being Black. And the Black is the energy of feminine energy. Black is feminine energy. Anybody talking about, like, what's a feminine color you can wear? Black. Black. You can do the numerology of the number. The numerology of Black is 6. 6 is the number of the mother. Black is the energy of the feminine. Black is the energy of the mother. Black is the energy of infinite possibilities. Black is where everything began and everything returns to. So understanding what that energy is, everyone, womb holders, whether they keep them or not, are absolutely of that group. You don't have to have no kids. You don't ever have to birth a child, because you are perpetually propelled to birth something into reality, whether you realize that's what you're doing or not. I hope that helps. Let me tell y'all about YouTube freezing. YouTube's being a hater and won't let me be great. YouTube folks, like, if you can come over to the Tiki Taki, come to the Tiki Taki. But it's gonna, the replay will be okay. The replay should be okay, even if for some reason, well, YouTube want to be a hater. It's being a hater and won't let me be great. Like, I don't like that. Like, why my YouTube gotta be freezing? Y'all are okay. Why is YouTube freezing? Hate. Sounds like hate to me. Sounds like hate. So yeah, that was what I got from the podcast thus far. Who Made Y'all Priests? Like, for real, y'all owe me like 45 minutes back in my day. Because I wasn't supposed to go live today. I had admin to be doing and things of that nature. But the timing of the downloads and the stream of consciousness around the mothers and just Odu and Ayla was really kind of perfect, because, like, for example, one of the pieces of admin I was going to do today was make a post reminding people that I am teaching a class on embracing the feminine on Saturday. And the intention of this conversation is a lot of what I talked about. The latter part of this one is how embracing the feminine helps you to balance your masculine. It does not negate your relationship with your masculine. It enhances it even further. When you have a multitude of ideas in your head and you're like, oh my God, these are so many great ideas. In order for you to see them birth into reality, you have to go ahead and embrace moving into action, which means you're moving into your masculine. Embracing your feminine and allowing yourself to be in that receptive energy so that you can get the download, so you can get the divine inspiration, so that you can receive the prosperity and abundance. Because that's you want the prosperity. You want to be able to build this new house, but you ain't got no money. Then you need to sit in your feminine energy so that you can attract the money, so that then you can move into your masculine and build the house. You need both. You need both. The analogy I tend to use is that, you have the outlet in the wall and the plug that goes in the outlet. The plug is the masculine, the outlet is the feminine. The plug ain't doing jack sitting on the floor. It's just not going to do anything. There's nothing it can do sit on the floor. It's not getting any power. The power is not there. It's not getting any. The same also goes for the outlet. The outlet has all this power, all this potential energy, all these things that it can possibly do. But it needs the masculine energy's connection in order to get it done. So then what happens when you plug the plug into the outlet? You now have a balance of masculine and feminine energy coming into union, and this is where creation happens. You can't manifest effectively when your energies are out of whack, when you don't have balance, because you could be doing all the effort all day, but if you are not in a space of receptivity where you're open to receive your blessings that are sitting in your feminine energy, you can do all the masculine that you want to do, but it's only going to come to you in blips. It's going to be inconsistent. It's not going to be a constant flow. You have to be in balance in order to manifest in a way where the flow is constant. Our last Itadogun, that was the message we got. Oyekumeji told us to sit down. Oyekumeji told us to rest. We have done the work, and it is time for us to rest. Oyekumeji is like being in the birth canal. You're in this peristalsis energy where you can tell there's something happening, but it's dark and you really can't see, and you're really trying to make your way out. And what you need is just allow the peristalsis to do the work. And if you allow, which means you're sitting in a place of receptivity, when you're pushed out is when you are able to see the light. So it told us to be still, to sit on our tuchus, and allow ourselves to receive the ire, the increase in our ashe, and the blessings that want to come to us for whatever is going to be birthed, the transformations that are going to take place in our next cycle. So this weekend, when I talk, there's your sample. Like, that's how that conversation is going to go. The classes that I hold for my temple, they're only $16. Like, that's it. They're only $16. I wanted them easily accessible. It is donation based, so it's like you make your $16 donation at minimum, or you can make more if you feel like, hey, I can afford more, and I know that your time is valuable, and I want to give more, then give more. But at least $16. And then you come and sit in the class and get all the good vibes and good energy and good education, and then learn how to sit with your own feminine. And this is not a class for just women. No, this is for everyone, because everyone has feminine energy and everybody has masculine energy. Every human being started off as a woman, a girl. Everyone starts as a girl. And then an introduction to something else is what cultivates boys. But everyone starts off that way. Everyone starts off that way. And so being able to honor the fact that you have both, it has nothing to do with how you dress. It has nothing to do with how you talk. It is not the inflection in your voice. It is not the colors that you wear. It is not the jewelry. It's none of those things. Not the toys you play with. It simply just is. You have both. Why? Because you are the Most High God, Creator, Odamade, the source, walking around in a human vessel. And if the source of all is all things and all energies, you can't possibly only be one, because you're the source in a human vessel. You can't possibly be one. So how you physically present, how you identify is how you identify. But the energy that you carry is always going to incorporate both. But if you disconnect yourself from half of that energy, you are basically disconnecting from half of yourself. So Saturday's conversation is about that, embracing that energy, talking about reasons why you may be disconnected and how to do things to allow yourself to connect to that energy, regardless of what gender you identify as. So if you find that, it's like, yeah, I need that in my life. I need that medicine. need that medicine, by all means, feel free to go to the link in my bio, go to my event page, go to my homepage. I know some of y'all lazy. Y'all don't want to scroll. Y'all don't want to click a lot. Then just scroll down. That's it. Just scroll down. Oh, thank you, my daughter. Look. I was like, yo, we teaching today? That's what we doing? This what we doing today? We teaching today? Wasn't the plan. Was it the plan? I got leges to cleanse. Got a gang of leges to cleanse and pray over. I got leges to cleanse and pray over. This was not the plan today. But I managed to make it just shy of getting everything out of my system in under an hour. Thank you, Ifa, because I was not questions, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts, and you know, and I'm an artist for what you ask. But yeah, any questions on anything in particular, anything that was discussed, anything you missed, da da da. I'll give 10 minutes for that. While I'm waiting, I'm watching the comment section in both areas. So while I'm waiting, and I'm sorry, YouTube. I don't know why, like, my YouTube won't let me be great. Man, it wasn't just them. Like real talk, I if everybody at one it narrowed this was Source had a word. Source will say I will miss that myself to conversation be birthed in an Elay. That's not what was supposed to be happening. From my perspective, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy mentoring. I enjoy supporting people on their journey, whatever journey, spiritual career coach, happiness coach, a goal success coach. So I enjoy doing that. And I wanted to do something for people who were awakening, specifically Generation X and older millennials and going through a spiritual awakening, because I could see that was something that was happening for us across the board, is that the Gen X and older millennials were going through an awakening all at the same time. And it's like, well, why are we going through this now? Whereas the younger generations are coming into it already there. And also understanding that Gen X wants, especially Gen X, you got to teach Gen X and use language in a very specific way. And that's what I was not seeing. I was seeing a lot of content creators, and they like to use the flash words. We're going to talk about 5D, and you're in the matrix. Gen X don't want to hear it because we got to work. Give this to me in a way where I can digest it and understand it and practically apply it into my life. And so I saw that was something that needed to take place, specifically for people in the diaspora. A lot of times, like, people in the diaspora, especially when it comes to African spiritual practices, are shunned. Like, you should only be practicing an African spiritual practice in a specific way. And if you're not doing it that way, then you probably aren't really practicing that way. And so they also needed a home. What I've also learned in this last year, that my Elay is, at least at present, a space where the intersectionality, especially in Black women and youth, takes place. Like my godchildren, I do have 2 goddaughters who are not melanated, but everyone else is. But all of them are either neurospicy or they have a physical, something physically that makes them differently abled. If it is not them, than it is their children or someone very close to them who is neurospicely or differently able. Every single one of them. And I'm like, that ain't no coincidence. It's like 15 of us, me included, being undiagnosed neurospicy, who with two children on the spectrum, who all of us are highly sensitive. That's no coincidence. That's not a coincidence. And so I looked around, I was like, okay, alrighty then. I asked Ifa, even specifically, because I had said, I am the spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And when the non melanated folks started to show up, I was confused. And so I asked Ifa, what's going on? And Ifa revealed to me the Holy Odu Iwori Ogunda. And what I learned is that those non melanated folks who are truly being called, they're not collecting. They're not collecting an African spiritual practice like a Pokemon card. They're truly, genuinely being called. They are doing elevation work for their lineage. And I posted earlier, in the wisdom of nature, it does not disconnect you from any of your ancestors. It encourages you to have an ancestral practice that helps you to honor and elevate them all. To help you honor and elevate them all. So when I see one of my goddaughters and she's honoring like her Slavic roots and she's incorporating them in things that she's doing overall, I was like, that's how Ifa is supposed to work. That's what Ifa is doing. That is what Ifa. Agbo ato. Yeah, Ifa. Abo shishe ago ato. That's how Ifa is supposed to work. It is supposed to give you the medicine so that you elevate them all. And specifically for the non-melanated ones, that's what they're doing. They are doing work that is going to help elevate their lineage, elevate their ancestors in a way that won't happen if they don't get the medicine in that way. So I feel, and it's 2:22 on the clock. What time were the angel numbers today? Um, I give gratitude being administered at least through my lineage. Because what I can say is, if you are in my health, honoring all aspects of your holistic spiritual life and walk, and it's that connection to them all and their elevation that allows for you to elevate even further. Allows for you to elevate even further. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm like, it's just a year old. And I realized that some of them, like, they have been with me a whole year. Technically, that aspect, that part of their journey is done. And I'm like, oh God, this morning was like, hey, it's time for you to start talking about the fact that you're getting ready to have space in your mentorship program. You're getting ready to have space because the people who've gone through the first year are about to be done. And I'm like, wow, they're about to be done. And I just, it wasn't the plan. Like for me, it was just supposed to be a journey. The incorporation of Ifa was important because if people ask me for how I relate to the tradition myself, it is a self-love religion, period, for me, point blank. It's a self-love religion. And every aspect of what we do is built on the foundation of self-love. What other practice, your Ori is you. And if you don't venerate nobody else first thing in the morning, you venerate your Ori. You venerate you every day. Ahabo Shishe Agbo Ato Divine. You venerate you every day. Every day. You venerate your ancestors. Why? Because they are also who? You. They are your blood and your bone. So when you venerate your ancestors, you elevate them, you are elevating yourself. When you honor your Egbe, they are you from a foundation is built on the elevation and the recognition that you and the Most High are one. That is why, well, the first thing you know, my site at the very top is self-love is an act of worship. You are the altar to the divine. That is what Ifa has given me, and that's what I give to my godchildren. I give them themselves, or rather, help them regain connection to themselves. I help them gain connection. I don't give them a spiritual practice. I give them bones. I give them bones, and muscle, and blood, and life. I give them bones. That's it. Because it's a tradition, and the tradition is supposed to live and breathe both in the community and through the individual. Where it looks like somebody else is singing this particular Oriki to Shango, somebody else might be singing a different one. But guess what? We all talking to Shango. And then having to be able to find their own way. We have an Oriki class, but the first thing I tell them is I won't, because your ashe is in your rhythm. The ashe of my rhythm is my Oriki. It's mine. It don't have to sound like anybody else's. It needs to sound like mine. Because that is the way it needs to birth through me. And one of the things I gave them this morning was when you do your epo, energies are not separate. When you go through, I think it's I would say Follow Kun will probably agree with me that it's the translation of what happens in initiation is kind of, there maybe isn't an English equivalent that really works. But I'm not giving you what you already got. You already got those orishas. All of them, living, breathing in your vessel. Otherwise, you can't breathe, because otherwise you would have no air in your lungs. Oh yeah, you have them all already. What happens is those that are meant to be unlocked, the gate that is maybe cracked open in you, that needs to be fully open, just wide open, ain't no fence, just forget the gate, just take the fence down, where that Orisha lives in your being. The initiation is what opens it in the way that it's meant to be open. But I'm not giving you something you already got there. They live and breathe in everyone because they are the consciousness of the creator in nature. And we are the embodiment of the creator in nature. So they already live in us. Initiation helps you to have a deeper relationship and access to certain energies, because that is what you need in order to walk in alignment with your Iwa Pele and fulfill your favorite destiny. I say favorite because there's many aspects to your destiny. So the favorite one is the one that you're going for. So I don't give you anything. You already got it. But you might need to open it up a little further. Won't nobody tell me there's no surprise to most people who know me if they learn who Yemoja is and knew me as a kid. I was always Yemoja. Always. There we go. Thank you. All right, sorry, TikTok doing a verification. So hey Rhiannon. That the nurse, even as a kid, so nobody had to give me Yemoja, but I needed a deeper connection to her for the work that I am meant to do. And that's why I needed to initiate and have that particular ceremony. The ones that I will receive later on, it's a formality. It's like the relationship's there. It's a formality. It's so that in conversation, someone says, have you? Yeah, I have. It makes them feel good in conversation and dialoguing with me. But it's a formality. The relationship's already there. So yeah, there's that. Okay. So I have officially hit the 1 hour mark, and I said I was going to give 10 minutes to see if anybody had any questions for me. But I do want to say thank y'all. TikTok, one time for TikTok for the 3.2K likes. Thank you. And I'm confident there's at least one person that I know for sure that was watching on YouTube. And so if you manage to muscle through YouTube doing the freezing and all the shenanigans, you the best. Thank you, thank you. And thank you to my goddaughters. And thanks, Sugar Plum, because Like y'all's love and support has been so nurturing to me. And I wanted to like say that openly. Like, I am so lucky to have you. I'm so fortunate to like have you. And I'm honored, always honored that you're Oris, that you're Egun, and we share similar egg bays. So like, oh, but your Ori and your egg gonna say, "Hey, it's her. That's the one. That's the one. You looking for a teacher? There she is." And even for those who come and just pop into the lives, like real talk, I am grateful to you because you wouldn't be here sitting, listening, whether you're listening in the background, however that's happening, and whoever has popped into my room, you would not be if not for your Ori. Nothing happens without the sanction of your head. And so your Ori said, "Hey, pop into that live right there. Pop into that live. Go ahead. Go ahead." And I'm grateful for your alignment because you listened. So Ashe. Your ancestors was like, Ashe. See, you can't fake that. Like real talk. Like you there's a lot of things that you could be saying, but top tier comments for me are always it's your energy. That's always a top tier compliment from me. Okay? Like there's no other compliment like it. Like your energy is amazing. And I try to be a purveyor of good energies. So I'm so thankful. Um, I'm gonna try to go live again Wednesday, but I don't know what I'm talking about because this live wasn't planned. So this live was not planned. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. But for those of you who just like want to hang out or stay more connected, by all means, feel free to please go and join my temple group on my website. You do not have to have the medias of social, so it's not a Facebook group. It's not. You just go to my website and join the group. And you can come and fellowship with us during Itadogun. You can come fellowship with us when I do my Orisha services. You can come have a class and things like that. This weekend's class is going to be really dope. And then in April, I'm doing a head and heart alignment group ritual. So we do this anyway, but I wanted to open it up because the way spirit was moving is like more people need this medicine. And so being in alignment with your head and your heart and doing that elevation work with your Ori and being able to do it where you have accountability partners, because that's the reason why we're doing it as a group. So that in the mornings, the things that we need to do in the morning, it's not just you. It's a bunch of us sitting there doing the work in the morning. And the things that you need to do before bed, there's a bunch of us together at night before bed doing the work. And I'm kicking it off on the 7th with a class about Ori. So I'm going to talk about what Ori is, different aspects of Ori, honoring your Ori, et cetera, et cetera. So that way you have a deeper understanding of why the next 7 days of elevation work are important. And then we'll close it out at the end with basically just a conversation. What transformations have taken place? What transformation have taken place now that you have done this work? Day 5, you'll notice it. By day 5 of and this is work. Like if you do it, it's work, and it's going to be deep work and introspective. You're gonna cry, probably a lot, but that's a release, and that's what you need. And you're going to speak to yourself in a way that you probably where the tears are going to come from. And so I'm really excited. I decided to kick it off. It kicks off the day before the eclipse. That's on purpose. It kicks off in Aries season. Why? Because Aries is the zodiac sign. I am, from a broader perspective, I am is invoking the energy of the source. So that's why it's important to be mindful of what you say behind the I am. But that's why, because you do it in the zodiac sign that rules the head. Why not? Let's make it really align. Right before solar eclipse. So now we've got that new moon energy, new beginnings. Dare I say, there's going to be a rumbling in the collective. I don't care how many people end up doing it. Honestly, it could be me and 2 other people. that me and them two other people are going to cause a rumbling, because imagine having all these people and their heads and their hearts are aligned. What kind of changes could that happen due to reality if all these people come together at the same time and bring their head and heart in alignment? I'm excited. I'm geeked. So that's what's coming. That's what I'm working on. If any of you, my calendar is open for divination. So if you have questions, if you just want a consultation, like I just want to bend your ear for 15 minutes, you can do that for $20. You can come and ask me anything. I won't divine for you, but you can ask me anything. If you just want to get divination on one question, you just need, I got a real quick question. That's only $25. You can go to my link in my link tree and you can literally, the link is right there. Pay the 20, I'll do it. But I also have some spring specials coming. I just haven't posted them. Why? Because Spirit wanted me to go live. So there's that. So be on the lookout for the spring specials. Lots of new things happening, and I'm super excited. But thank y'all again. 1:11 on my timer. So I think that's a good time to wrap it. Hopefully I will see y'all live again soon. Take care.